Hey everybody. Adam's having a couple little video problems there. Let me shoot him a quick message here. Um, and he'll be on here shortly. But in the meantime, welcome everybody. Hope that you're all having a wonderful week. Tomorrow's February. So, with that in mind, we got several things I'll go over with you before we get into what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'll jump to some of the stuff I was going to close with just while we wait for Adam to get back in here. Um, but it was confirmed this morning that I will be speaking with the Seasteading Institute again, March.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Atlanta Sea Colony live stream. My name is Adam Jewell, and with me is Brendan Traxler.
So anyway, as I was saying, March for Adam doesn't even know this. On March 18th, I'm going to be speaking with the Seasteading Institute again. They're having me on their. They do their stuff now through Discord, so I'll be speaking there on the 18th. It's a Saturday. I confirmed with Carly this morning, so that'll be fun. Haven't done that in a while. But anyway, how's it going, Adam?
I think I got it figured out now.
Cool.
Brendan noticed before I did that my camera was going staticky, like those old box televisions and stuff, like when you'd have to hit them to get them fixed. And so I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and it was taking forever to reload. So that's why I was just a couple seconds late. Other than that, I'm all right, buddy. So just doing some speaking engagements you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's always good to keep the relationship with the seasteaders going good.
Yeah. So that's coming up. But anyway, also I can hear myself coming from your side, by the way, dude.
Oh, sorry. That's my fault again. Getting there.
You're good. You good. Wait, just give it a few minutes here. Do the typical wait for everybody to come in here that wants to be in here, which because I got slides tonight, so we're gonna be all fancy. I got tons of stuff to show off as we get speaking about this. So why are we talking about this? And it always goes back to, once again, the whole theme for this year is for us to build that clear, direct, intentional explanation and communication about what we're doing. And so I'm kind of trying to do like a series this year where we're breaking down parts of what we're trying to do, the business, the designs and stuff like that into bite-sized bits. And so tonight we're going to be discussing, I'm calling it the shallow water design, but I really don't like doing that because ocean builders, that's what they call theirs. So I'm trying to think of a better name for it. But it's basically our phase one prototype, but it's its own line too, design model. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight.
Our one atmosphere model.
I mean, there all could be one atmosphere models.
Okay, well, I tried. I did my part.
Yeah. I've been looking at like some Greek names, like Fabian used Proteus for the name. It says we need to get some cool names like that for some of our habitat. So if people have ideas for like cool names, I'm putting feelers out there. I'm trying to figure out some cool names for our habitat, our models.
Well, how do you say shallow water design in Spanish? You're very fluent in Spanish.
No, we're not doing Spanish.
Well, don't use Greek.
Well, Latin.
Yeah, it's overdone, man. Come on.
All right. Maybe Russian then. Anyway,
I'm not fixing it again. You guys are going to deal with this.
Reboot your computer is what I'm telling you. But anyway, we'll get into it.
I do think it's motion activated, by the way. So if I sit a little bit closer, it doesn't do it. Sorry.
It doesn't. I was going to say that if you get right close, it doesn't do anything. So it's almost like
super weird. It's never done that before.
Like the focusing aspect of the thing.
Right.
Anyway. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the shallow water design and the fact that we're using shipping containers. And so that has been a contention point for some people for a while. And so we get talking, why are we using shipping containers? And there's several reasons. One is, there's a picture of one, by the way. The cost effect of the thing. You can buy a brand new 40-foot shipping container for around $10K. Now, obviously, there's a whole lot more that has to go into it, but that's relatively cheap entry into the basic core design element of what we're trying to do here. So, with that being said, that's one of the aspects. Also, there's it's a universal design for people to build around, for us to build around, and for us to continue to be able to get. It's one of those things that if we have an issue and we have to replace it, not a big deal. You easily grab another one. Also, their module, which we'll talk about a little bit later, why that comes into play, but easily added to or whatever. And another big reason why I like those is ease of transport. Throw them on the back of a truck, transport them to where you need the main portion of the thing. So that cuts down on transportation costs or any funky rules and regulations, which is kind of what we ran into looking at some of the older designs. Was it was so big, you had to get special permits, and in some places it couldn't even go. So this pulls that down to a format that, at least we can, transport it where we need to go.
Yeah, you already, spoke on it, but that was one of the first things I asked you about in the very beginning of the project was like, all right, like say if you're not building it directly on a shipyard or whatever, that putting it on a tractor bed or trailer bed, that if it's over your standard width of 10, 12 feet or whatever it is,
right?
Whatever it is, then now it comes to like special permits and special trucking, and like just the logistical nightmare of it would be unreal. I mean, doable, yes. Obviously, they ship all sorts of crazy stuff down the highways and interstates and stuff, but for ease of like the financials and stuff, like that would be. I mean, this makes everything so much easier.
And initially, we were looking at it's almost like a 15-foot wide structure, which was like a pain. And so really a lot of this came from your idea anyway, Adam. I mean, you were the one that kind of came up with the whole idea of the shipping container to an extent anyway. So really this is all your fault. But
sorry.
No, I love it. That's why we're running with it, because it makes a whole lot more sense. And it was like the missing piece to the business model that I've been struggling with, where I knew what I wanted to build. I knew why I wanted to build it and a general idea how we're going to build it. And this just completely changed a lot of the design elements as well as the business model aspects too. And talking about what initially was we kind of worked backwards on this design. So what I mean by that is here's what I originally had when Adam jumped on board and came in here was this design model. Each one of those cylinders there was around, well, initially they're like 20 foot wide, which wasn't going to work whatsoever. So scaled them down a little bit. And then you can see there's a one going up and down the back, which is like where the moon pool and everything was, and a bunch of different stuff. So we had this. I still like the design from a lot of standpoints, but then we got working with a shipping container. A shipping container could fit inside of that, but then you still had a whole lot of engineering to go around that. So what if you just pulled it back to just the shipping container and kind of worked everything in reverse? So we basically took what ended up being most of what phase 2 is going to be and pulled it backwards. Am I explaining myself good here?
Yep.
So, let's say we reverse engineered it. Shipping container goes inside of that now. The width only ends up being about 12 and a half, 13 foot wide once you get that shipping container inside there. But we pulled the shipping container out because we're not worried about depth at this point in time. There's a lot of other stuff we wanted to work on. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we took what we were trying to go with and reverse. And also it was a cost conscious idea too. We wanted to be able to build this. We wanted to get it out there. We want to test this, but we want to do it as cost effective, as cheap as possible. And so,
yeah, you have to take into account where, I mean, those that are familiar and working in a manufacturing environment that, especially if you've worked at like a little bit higher level where you have to be conscientious of inventory and overhead costs and all that. I mean, when you're buying your supplies to build your product, when you take into account all the amount of supplies that you would need to build your framework from scratch or whatever, you're talking a lot of inventory for one, a lot of floor space, a lot of, like I said, overhead, your shipping costs and blah, blah, blah. Whereas with the shipping container concept, essentially that's like one part, really. It's one giant part, but it's one part that you're buying. So maybe it's one expensive part when you compare it to like nuts and bolts, like literally. However, when you add up, like, because with many suppliers and stuff for when you're buying your raw materials, you're not really ever buying just what you need. You have to buy a minimum amount. So it's just like, say you needed to buy your 10 upright posts or whatever for whatever it is. Well, more than likely your supplier, in order to get even a somewhat decent cost, is going to make you buy a certain X amount before they even ship it to you. So this makes sense for that aspect too, as far as, like I said, inventory costs, shipping, all that.
Yep. And so with that, as we were putting feelers out there and trying to explain what we're doing, there's a bunch of other people who came up with different ideas, and we different design ideas. We were talking about, hey, we want to do this as cost effective as possible, and to be moving forward on this. There were several ideas that came to, and we looked at them. Some of them were, water storage tanks. They're already designed for water. Obviously, this is not the best example for one, but large, that you can get inside of and work. Some other things was, which I thought about as well, and somebody else brought it up, was a train car. Flip the sucker upside down. You've got your moon pool access there. But the problem with all these, well, several problems, and then there's other designs too. Custom building, habitat. Twofold problems, especially with like the water containers in the train car, was the square footage inside was so much smaller on both of those that it became just another cramped habitat. And that was not at all what we're trying to go for. We're trying to avoid that at all costs, because that's all that's been up to now, is tin cans. Also, it didn't really work with the business model. It wasn't scalable. It wasn't modular. It didn't put forth any of those cores that we were trying to accomplish moving forward. So those were
like, you were saying with the reverse engineered aspect of it too. Whereas if you take what you're showing here, train car, or like the previous picture of the water container, the water storage thing, is that you're taking your cylindrical device as your initial part, and now you have to build your frame inside of it. So therefore, like you said, you're shrinking down your living space inside of the tube. Whereas with what we have, we're starting with your livable framework space, and then at that point, working around it, as opposed to having to, like I said, work your way in with this. So
right.
If that helps explain the issue, or if maybe I just made it more complicated, but like I said, being able to work around your living space rather than form your living space in this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I see we got some questions coming. We'll get to those here.
To answer one of them.
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that before we get into this. So like Babe's are pretty much taking care of it, but Ben here is asking how hard is it to waterproof a shipping container at 1 atmosphere? Babe chimes in here that container load shallow water be at 1 atmosphere, then phase 2 would be put cylinder. And then as far as how hard it is, we got an engineer working on that. But really, it's 1 atmosphere. It's doable. It's going to have to be reinforced, and we knew that going forward. It's going to have to be reinforced, but no more so than basically what you do with framing out a house. There'll be a little bit more stringent than that.
Basically different materials. We would more than likely go, instead of, like you said, your house being reinforced with 2x4s, like wood 2x4s. In this case, you'd probably use steel or something to do the reinforcement a little bit, or like have certain amounts of steel in there. But,
and it wouldn't be like 18 inches off either. It'll be a little closer together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But once again, that's all it is, especially at 1 atmosphere. You pump enough air in the thing, you reinforce it. It's not an issue.
Yeah, you offset enough of it by, like you said, having it pressurized right, and I mean, if I understand it correct, obviously you know way more about it than I do, Brendan, but a lot of it's more so as like kind of like a fail safe, or just like that extra like just in case type deal, where at 1 atmosphere, like if you just dumped a shipping container in the water, it's not going to crush or implode. But It's more so for, like I said, just the longevity of it and being able to have that extra framework and more support to it.
Right. I hope that answers your question. If not, ask it in there and we can go a little bit deeper on that.
We're here all night.
Yeah. So the other thing was we stripped it down to a 3-part construction process for the most part. Obviously, it's a little bit more detailed than that. But you got the facilities container, which is on land, which has all your generators, your communication, everything like that in it. And you've got your living container. So actually, there's 2 containers really, but you're only focused on the one, the living container, and then a cradle that it all sits on. That's your ballast. And it actually gets placed in the water first. It gets leveled out. It gets put on the water, the floor, or the ocean, wherever you're putting the thing, and then the 2 get combined together. And so, that was one of the things we wanted to work on, was how to simplify a lot of these different things. Sorry, I lost my point there. And something else we wanted to do as well was test some new ideas. That, I mean, some of it's been done before, but some of it hasn't. One of the ones, in this next one, you're going to be seeing some of our new artwork that we got out there too, which we haven't shown off to anybody except for I showed in the Patreon only video this last Saturday. I showed some of this off, but
so this is an ASC exclusive, right?
It is large modern windows. Look at that bad boy. So going with larger windows, we've already talked to some different people about this, getting costs back on that. I used Chat GPT actually to see what they had to say. Just curious on how smart they were about some of this stuff.
All the cool kids are doing now.
Yeah, that's all when it's up and running. But yeah, one of the things is, and we've actually put some polls out on our social medias about this too. Do you want the cylinder, the round windows, or do you want large windows? Most people actually voted for the round windows, and you will get those. But I really want to see how modern we can make this looking, and how much we can make it look just like your average hotel room or your small apartment or whatever like that, and put that underwater. So using large windows, which will have to be thick, we're gonna have that in there. Also, another thing, which I think is going to be the biggest engineering feat we're going to be working on, is rapid lowering and raising of the habitat. This is something that hasn't necessarily been done before, but there may be a reason for that. But the whole idea is, if we can, instead of putting all the ballast on the habitat itself and control sinking that, if we can move most of that ballast to the base and then pull it down, that allows for controlled descent and ascent as well, for repairs, replacing whatever, because this is something we definitely want to use in more extent in the our later down the road models. The biggest thing is how much ballast we have to have between the two, because to sink a air-filled 40-foot shipping container, it's about 400 tons of ballast that you need to sink that just by itself. So we're going to have to obviously split that somehow, because to get pulleys and systems to pull all that down there is pretty ridiculous.
And then not only that, but trying to find a way to have any kind of machinery just cost effectively move anything that's 400 tons, right? is a pretty high ask too. Yeah.
But I got some ideas on how we'll take care of that too. But either way, another thing for the engineer. But ultimately, if we have to just control sink the shipping container, we can do that. That's been done multiple times, so not a huge deal. But I'd really like to experiment and see how we can get that to work. We've talked to other people. Some people talked about how you have boat lifts and using like a boat lift to raise and lower. Once again, you have the whole thing of all the displacement in the air, so you got to figure out that weight difference. But another option as well. And then also future iterations and designs. I at one time showed a really quick pencil drawing I did of a future design for the shipping container model, because the more and more I get thinking that we can have a whole line just of this alongside the other models as well. This can be its own model, its own business model, and stuff along those lines. So that that could be coming down to. And I would say, once again, I don't want my whole reason of having this is I share a lot on here that other people can take and run with. So I don't want to throw everything out there. I have to keep something close to the vest here and some secrets. But yeah, so there's other ideas I have for that down the road. And then lastly, management and ownership and what that looks like. A lot of that really depends on the location. At this point in time, we're more concerned with just proving the functionality and these design elements that we've discussed on here. But if there's somebody came along, which we have had conversations, we're willing to negotiate whatever is right to move the brand along. So if that means, at first we make almost nothing on it, but we're moving ASC along and getting the name out there and getting habitats in the water, as long as it doesn't break us and kill us in the process, I'm willing to make some sacrifices at first. But long term, there's several different models that we can look at, sell directly to clients like dive resorts, hotel resorts, all that kind of stuff. We can slap in a maintenance program or something along those lines to maintain everything on there, which could be a monthly reoccurring model, Airbnb style, some of them. There's a bunch of different aspects we can do with these, whether we own them directly or we sell them to other people to create money off of these. So yeah, that pretty much is the overall idea of what we're trying to work on here. I do have a video we can show off here as well. Are you ready for that, Adam?
I'm ready. Oh, is this a different one?
No, I don't think so. Why is it not playing? Why is it not playing? What? It's not playing. That's fine, because I will get the video file here. Keep us entertained while I find
that looks like I haven't seen that one.
It's the last one. You haven't seen that one?
I don't know. It didn't look from it. I'll let you know once we actually see it. But
okay.
Yeah. While Brennan's loading that up, just to add on to kind of what he said. Oh, never mind. Here we go.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and play it here real fast. So yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, obviously our
I don't think
graphic
I see
guy.
that one.
All right, yeah, he took some liberties and stuff right there, but most of it I'm straight on. He's good with. Yeah, it's cool to see that stuff. Bailey's got a message here because I bet a good market would be right off the coast near some aquariums. Monterey Bay would be a 6th spot to spend a night. Yeah. So I'm from Illinois originally, so I thought about Shed Aquarium up there off of Lake Michigan as well. A little colder water. I'm not too sure about all that, but as we had a guest on a couple of years ago that was talking about doing submarine excursions there in Lake Michigan. So obviously there are some stuff to see. So yeah, absolutely. Once again, it's one of those things where it's all about resources, taking time to reach out these places, trying to build these networking with these different locations, and finding the right people is really where it boils down to. Is we've contacted multiple different places, but trying to get a hold of the right person in those locations to talk to them has sometimes been a chore. But absolutely, especially and I've thought about, there's a new aquarium down here in Mississippi that actually has some really cool underwater excursions that you can do there in the aquarium. But I thought if you could put something off the coast there and partner with them, that would be really cool as well. So yeah, I like the way you're thinking. That's absolutely a possibility. And Ben says, looks fantastic. I agree.
Yeah,
I'm
the guy
excited.
that's been doing this work for us has like been just awesome. With all
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, he is.
Like I said, he took a lot of liberties, but such like,
yeah, he's like throwing
we've
some
had,
ideas.
like zero complaints with what he's done.
He's like, what about if you did this? And then I'm like, I didn't even think about that, dude. But yeah, that would work.
Yeah, the guy like we had him like just do some like mock-ups really, and then like he's helping us with like design like ideas and stuff too, and it's just been amazing.
Actually, I think he just joined our Discord the other day too. I saw a Smarkies join.
Oh,
so
awesome. Yeah.
So he's in there. So his name's Smarkies. If you want to hit him up and stuff like that, he's in our Discord.
If you need any work done, hit him up.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always looking for work. He freelances that kind of stuff, and plus a whole lot more. We've sent several people his way. I don't know if anybody's used him or not. Yeah. So anyway, if anybody's got any questions, I'd love to answer them. If not, we can move on. But like I say, while people are posting in there, a couple of different things. One thing I saw just before we went live was, once again, take this with a grain of salt, but scientists are predicting that by the year 2100, like the bottom third of Florida is going to be underwater. So that's some prime real estate to put some underwater habitats now to prepare for down the road type of
that's
thing.
That's going to be our sales tactic, is just going door to door, and people in Florida be like, do you like this house? Because it's not going to be here.
But we can build you one that will.
Yeah, we'll replace it.
Yeah. It'd be a whole lot easier just to build that sucker all on land now and let the water raise up above it.
Yeah, there'll just be some guy that has an above ground ASC habitat, and like then everything floods over, and he'll be like, you guys all thought I was crazy.
Right.
Now look who doesn't have to move.
Yeah, some other things are, like I said, March 18th. It's actually noon Central Time, 10 Pacific. I will be on Discord with the Seasteading Institute and discussing, I don't know, they haven't told me what I'm talking about. I'm guessing ASC. I don't know what else they're going to be talking about. Yes, Key West ASC, babe.
Yeah.
No comment. I could have said some stuff, but I'm going to leave that off camera. Because we know somebody else that's based out of Key West that's working on some underwater hotels. Adam, you got some comments there?
Nope.
So anyway, also the next live stream was actually going to be on Valentine's Day. I'm not sure how it's going to play out. Adam, I don't know if you'll be here or not for that, since it's Valentine's Day. That's our next live stream.
There's no one I'd rather spend it with than you.
Well, that's what I thought. So,
well, I'm not going to make that commitment, but we'll definitely.
I've already told you who's the more important person in your life.
This one.
So anyway, it's basically right now it's open discussion. But I got thinking we could discuss. Hey, if you guys got like ideas for underwater habitats and stuff like that, maybe you've drawn up or something. I know some of people who do consume some of our stuff have had underwater habitat ideas, and we want to talk about those. You want to send me your graphics and stuff like that over? We can definitely, you can talk about your stuff like that. We can discuss that. Or for all of you seasteaders out there that consume our stuff, mostly out of Discord, if you got stuff you want to talk about, hey, let's talk about that. So basically, maybe it's what are you working on? What is your designs? Or do you have some really cool designs out there you've seen that you would like to see come to fruition?
Yeah, we had that thing going on in Discord for a while where a lot of people are posting different models they've seen, and whether it's from like movies, comics, books, and games, or just concepts that 3D artists came up with. And so it was a fun thread that was going on for a while to see all the different ideas people had.
Yeah, so that I think is where we're at right now for that one. So that's in 2 weeks. Anyway,
yeah, it's month end.
It is. Tomorrow's
January
February.
Went fast, man.
It did. But anyway, guys, you got anything you want to talk about? Or if there's any girls out there? I don't know, whatever. If not, Adam, You have anything you'd like to finalize this evening with?
No, it really upset me that I wasn't able to be here right in the intro, because I had it planned out that I was going to open up with "Welcome to the ASC live stream," the only company that's trying to go down.
Anyway, Babe says,
like nothing. I thought that was clever as all get out.
Concept submarine discussion. I'm cool with that. So that was one of the things. So we'll go off on a side tangent right here. Is back in the early days of ASC when I was designing something like this, I was also designing tons of different submarines or submersibles and stuff like that to go along with it. Really taking concepts from marine animals. Like I had this manta design. It was like a manta ray submersible. Babe's got a sub that can pull up to the ASC habitat and move it to somewhere else. Holy cow!
That's a pretty tough submarine.
Yeah. But yeah, I did actually. I took. I wish I had this artwork still somewhere. Who knows where it's at? It may be on a backup disk somewhere. But I took like those tourist submarines, and I photoshopped like docking collars and stuff on them. So I think those would be ideal for down the road when we have a submarine that has to dock. This comes up and docks to the habitat where people can come on and come off without having to climb up and down a ladder. It'd have to be walk in and out, because that's, once again, all the tourist submarines right now, you have to climb a ladder to get in and out of them because they're underwater. But that's not going to work moving forward. For the grandma effect, you have to be able to walk in and walk out. So it's got to be a front way facing docking collar or a sideways docking collar where they can just walk in and walk out from the habitat. What's that look for, Adam?
I had a really silly idea, not an idea, but like a thought. You know how they make those? What do you want to call them? It's not a submarine, but they're like those. They're the masks that you can put over to go like diving, but they also come like with a little thing to like help you move a little bit better too.
Mm-hmm.
How deep can those go? Could like a guy just like, if say he doesn't want to get scuba certified, like get those and take them to the habitat at 1 atmosphere, or are they like? Can they only go like a short distance from the surface? I haven't looked too much into those things, but you know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah. Underwater mobility scooter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No. So there's a YouTuber that I follow, and actually I talked to him trying to do something with him. It's Jigging with Jordan, and he actually bought one and like fixed it up, and was using it and stuff like those lines. He bought you should check him out. Anybody that's interested in this kind of stuff, Jigging with Jordan. And he bought one of those underwater wet submarines from back when the Hammaker Slemmer magazine from back in like the 90s. You could buy these personal submarines. He bought one of those and fixed it up and used it. And so like both of them are 1 atmosphere type of thing. So I don't know how deep you could technically go with it. It's a scuba tank. So you probably could take it down, especially this habitat. It's only like 20-some feet underwater. So yeah, you could totally do that.
Like, because like they let anybody just basically like rent those and they go scooting around, wherever they're at, and it's just like, well, could they technically just take it down to, then it's like
they don't have a big moon pool though. You have to have like this big old like docking bays in the moon pool then.
Yeah, something to put on put in the burner, put on the back burner.
Have to have a separate habitat just for docking.
Mobile.
Yes, like Babe's just saying, have an underwater scooter rack, like a bicycle rack outside your habitat.
Yeah, well, that way, if you get into a fight inside the habitat, you have a place to point out where you want to fight them at.
I'm taking my bike and going home.
Like, meet me outside the underwater scooter rack.
But see, that's a fun thing about this. It's such a virgin territory where, and the science community has held it for so long that we regular folks haven't really had a chance to do this. And that's what's fun about this, is that we're trying to open this up so that these ideas can come to fruition, whether they work or not. At least let's have the option to be able to do it.
Those things are pretty big. I just now pulled up a picture of one.
Yeah.
When you were saying that, it's like they're not that, but they get kind of bulky. Yeah, you wouldn't want to have to store too many of them.
No.
That's funny though. Okay. Sorry.
Anyway.
As you were.
Let's go ahead and close it out now, unless people chime in here, but go ahead and wrap her up.
See if I remember how to do this. Ooh, you have folders now? Oh, because, yeah, okay, never mind.
Yes.
I see what happened there. Anyways, so, as always, guys, you know where we're at, AtlantisSeaColony.com. on that website, you can find basically anything you need to know about us. That has links to all of our social medias. That's the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Discord. It has the link to our Discord channel. We talk a lot about our Discord channel. We talk a lot in our Discord channel. So join us. We have a lot of fun discussions in there. And like Bren was saying, like especially like if you want to exchange ideas and stuff, that's a great place to do it because, I mean, not only that, but it's like it's always there. So like we can always like refer back to like certain posts and stuff, which is good. Also, we have a resource page there. Brendan updates that with, recommended books, podcasts, and if there's certain YouTube channels as well. And also, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can go there and check those out. Also, if you go there and you're like, oh, that Brendan, he didn't think about this one, shoot Brendan and I a message. We'll get it added to the page. If you think it's something good to throw up there and some good resources. Especially if it's a good book. We have a guy that works in the book business right with us right now. His name's Brendan. So he's always on the lookout. On there as well, just go to the merch page. We have different T-shirts, mugs, hats, hoodies, there's all sorts of accessories, totes and mouse pads and whatever. We have
somebody, I think that was Babe, just bought something off there the other day because it was the sleeveless T-shirt he'd been asking about. So
I've been saying forever that I need to buy another shirt or a hat or something.
Me too.
And I made a deal with myself last weekend that if Bengals did not advance to the Super Bowl, I would purchase ASC instead because I was going to get more football merch. And guess what? Bengals are not advancing to the Super Bowl. So yeah, merch store, a lot of cool stuff there. Also, so a couple different ways to support us if you are interested. First and foremost, if you want to make a one-time donation, you can do so through paypal.me, Atlanta Sea Colony, /Atlanta Sea Colony, sorry. Like I said, that can be, so if you want to donate any single dollar amount, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's $3 or $3,000, doesn't matter. You can do that through PayPal if you just want to do a one-time thing, feeling generous, whatever. Also, we have the subscription-based thing, little thing that you may have heard of called Patreon, different tiers that we have there as well. So, and last time I was in here, I kind of, made the approach of this. A lot of you guys are on New Year's resolution. Maybe you guys are cutting back on the coffee. Maybe you're like me and cutting back on the pop. If you're saving that extra few bucks, think about your good friends Adam and Brendan here, and maybe join the Patreon with that 5, 10, 15, 25, whatever it is. I always forget the 3 intervals, but it's still less than what you were spending on coffee or pop or McDonald's if you were going maybe one too many days a week like me. So yeah, that's another way of doing that. And speaking of that, the patrons that we have, Edward Haas, Brian Acosta, Matthew Cathy, Martin Reese, and our very own S. Babe Hyde. So thank you guys for being patron members. And like I said, it's always very helpful for that because not only is that getting more funds into the ASC bank account, but it helps with the stuff that's helping us get further reach, whether that's like we showed you earlier, the cool designs that we were able to show you from our friend Smarkies, and with have an engineer working on blueprints and stuff. That's the kind of thing that's helping with.
It also kind of come into play when we start printing those 3D models too, to be sending out to
right.
possible
investors. Yeah, we didn't talk about that much, but we are, that's more so like you and Babe have been like talking back and forth because it's through one of Babe's son's friends.
We got multiple different people involved with it, designing as well as building all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, trying to get little 3D models printed up as kind of a marketing deal. That'd be cool to be able to show once we get on here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can get Henry Cavill to come on and like he can paint one because he's into all that like figurine stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll get a hold of him.
We do that.
So yeah, we have that going as well. That, like I said, all that stuff helps with the stuff, the day-to-day stuff, the being able to, just having a little bit of money to have some resources to do little things to try to get the big project accomplished. So thank you guys very much for that. Anything you guys can do to help, we greatly appreciate. And last but not least, if you're not able to do the Patreon or the PayPal, just spread the word about us. Share the website, share the social medias, tell your friends to get on our Discord, and tell them to join the live streams, whatever it may be. That's the biggest thing. Just trying to grow our community, trying to talk to as many people as we can about it, and we love to talk about it with people. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have problem solved a lot of the stuff we already haven't. So. Having said that, whoops, clicked the wrong thing there.
I got one more thing to add in here. So I got another plug for you guys. Deep Sea Locker. They're all over the place. Very cool. They got it's Joe Deturi. He's the one that's getting ready to do the 100 days underwater starting in March, I think it is. But they got tons of cool stuff. They got some amazing. I sent to Babe the other day. Some really cool merch coming down the pipe that I was like, oh man, I'm going to go broke buying. They got like these cool like hand forged tridents and stuff like that. They're going to be coming out with. So if you're into that kind of stuff, yeah, check out their social media, check out their Instagram is really, really cool. And they've got like a side channel as well called, oops, didn't mean to hit that. Sorry guys. Deep Sea channel. Which I think is for like their all their media stuff, their podcast, all that kind of stuff. They've got a podcast, which I need to add to the resource page.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, check them out. They seem really cool. I'd really like to do some more just talking with them. They've shared some of our stuff. So yeah, just a little.
Once again, it's always coming across those people that share the same ambitions 100%. And stuff. That's been awesome. So, all right, guys, thank you very much, and we will see Valentine's Day, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you later, sweeties.
Thanks, guys. Bye.